Greetings from the Arcturian group. We are a collective of evolved Arcturian beings of light who have chosen to work with the people of Earth at this powerful time of ascension energy, by assisting already and willing to move beyond the third dimension and into a consciousness that no longer embraces duality and separation. We are love, and easily observe the innate purity of each of you. Our work is to assist you to understand and accept that you too are beings of light, but have forgotten. You may call upon us whenever you wish, for you are part of the Arcturian group collective consciousness. We are not here for one person alone but for anyone seeking enlightenment. This is our work, our joy, and our mission of love. It is time to fully open to deeper awareness and really see, dear ones, to observe and translate beyond the plethora of situations that so many struggle with on a day-to-day basis. Many, even those awake to truth, find themselves in the midst of physical, emotional, mental, and even spiritual turmoils, leaving them in doubt, confusion, and sorrow. The world as you have known it is a material concept of the real world. The real world is a spiritual idea within the mind of God. The material world that seems so real, the interpretation of a consensus consciousness enmeshed in beliefs of duality and separation. A tree is not as you see it with human eyes, but in its true form is a beautiful, living, body of light which is true of all living things. The material sense of Earth will change as the false beliefs that formed it begin to dissolve. It can never return to what it was, in spite of efforts by those attempting to make this happen, because the substance of it is different. People are beginning to honor and appreciate all life forms, and are finally giving serious thought to cleaning and protecting the Earth, because they are starting to understand oneness, that what they do to others and to Gaia, they do to themselves. Humans are the only species that defiles its own nest. Those who do not yet know that they are spiritual beings, consciousness and not just a human body, are experiencing varying degrees of panic at this time as they observe their reality, the right way of things, fall apart. Because of this, some are acting out through violent and thoughtless reactions in a useless effort to keep the status quo. Because people build their lives around their attained state of consciousness, their personal security rug gets pulled out from under them when change happens, either personal or worldwide. Some love seeing the bigger picture while others panic. This can happen when a spiritual shift takes place as well. Awakening to a new level of awareness happens when the individual is spiritually ready, and not when he or she thinks they are ready. This is why many rites, rituals, and activities promoted to shift someone spiritually are really quite useless. Trust that your higher self knows what you are ready for and when you are ready for it. Shifts in consciousness can feel like, and often are thought of as being a personal failure, because they often result in the collapse of one or more parts of one's life that were created out of a past state of consciousness. Always remember that nothing real can ever dissolve, only concepts entertained about something can disappear. If something in your life is a spiritual reality meant to be there, it will reappear in higher and better forms as your consciousness, the substance of it, evolves. In reality, these experiences are graduations, events necessary to force someone out of their comfort zone. Without these wake-up calls, many would continue to simply stagnate in the illusions of material sense, because it would be all they were aware of. With time, every soul moves beyond the need for difficult experiences, wake-up calls, in order to learn and grow, because they spiritually reach a point where they can access and be taught from the ever-present divine source of everything within. Recall the most devastating event in your life. Did it leave you in the same place you were before? Did it make you more compassionate toward those with similar issues, or did you become resentful and angry? Outer experiences always reflect one's belief system, and can be impersonal, formed out of consensus world consciousness, or personal, reflections of one's personal belief system. Energy always aligns with like energy. being expressions of the one divine creator, makes each soul a creator as well. Experiences, no matter how seemingly painful or useless to material sense, serve to teach the evolving soul what it needs to learn through its own creations. Unaware of the vast fount of information sleeping within them, newly awakening souls are usually only able to learn through their painful and difficult creations. Some evolved beings choose to be a part of a disastrous situation in order to assist others and add their light, but are usually not consciously aware of having made this inner choice. No one is ever punished for past indiscretions, as many still believe. Karma is simply the balancing of energy created by the person involved, alignment of energies, the soul experiencing its own creations, so to speak. Revenge, retribution, and punishment are human concepts that never have and never will be qualities of divine consciousness. Every spiritual idea embodied in divine consciousness, abundance, harmony, wholeness, intelligence, joy, peace, etc., is held in place as law which no individual could ever fix, heal, or change. Ponder this truth with respect to disease, lack, and other three-dimensional issues. The third-dimensional belief system considers uncomfortable physical, emotional, or mental experiences to be bad and in need of solutions and preventative measures. Some practical three-dimensional advice for making life easier is perfectly fine and necessary for everyone, but the problem with most solutions is that as a whole, the professionals involved do not yet understand the bigger picture, and no matter how well intended, their solutions often serve to add more power to, and thus prolong some situation. Most healing professionals do not yet understand that a person is not just physical, but has an emotional, mental, and spiritual body as well. As a result, treatments, often simply chemicals that serve to cover up an issue and block the person's clearing of it, only lop off an offending branch and do nothing for the root. Many highly evolved souls are now entering the healing professions, and they come armed with a consciousness that recalls powerful ancient healing techniques, as well as a realization of the innate divinity of every person who comes to them. Many of today's treatments and beliefs about health and disease will soon be considered obsolete. You are so much more than you have been led to believe, and this is how we see you. Never ever forget that you are a divine being, an actual facet or expression of God on earth, experiencing a sense of separation that is teaching and leading you to remembering who you are. Self-love is imperative to spiritual advancement, for you remain locked in the third dimension as long as you believe yourself to be separate from Source or unworthy in any way. Many, even some who are very evolved, have gotten trapped in the ever-so-real illusions of duality and separation, and have become like stone statues holding one pose forever, lifetime after lifetime. At this time, right now on Earth, intense high-frequency energy is pouring to Earth, and is available to assist anyone receptive to it. These powerful evolutionary energies of light are breaking apart the stone consciousness of a sleeping world through what seem to be disasters. You who read these messages are no longer of this dense energy, or you would not have found the messages, alignment, and they would make no sense to you. However, many of you still struggle when you begin to realize that you are no longer in alignment with many cherished beliefs and concepts, some of which have served as bonds within family, friends, and activities. It is at this point that the spiritual road can become a lonely one, especially in the beginning. The awakening student of truth often finds himself with no friends with whom he can share, no longer having anything in common with many of his old companions. If this happens, never believe that you have somehow failed, or that living the spiritual life means you must live a lonely life. Gradually, your consciousness will automatically and without conscious thought, draw to you those who are in alignment with you, as well as some who are ready to learn from your level of awareness. This does not mean leaving behind everyone who does not believe as you do, or favorite foods and activities. Rather, it simply means that as you evolve to new levels of awareness, you automatically move out of alignment with many familiar things and may no longer desire to engage in them as you once did. This is not a good thing or bad one, it simply is. Divine consciousness, which is your true consciousness, for there is only one consciousness, is a law unto itself, being the one and only power there is. It is not a power over something, for nothing exists for it to be power over. It simply and infinitely is the only power. Remind yourself in every waking moment and in every situation, my consciousness, not the human conditioned consciousness, but my real self, is a law of abundance, wholeness, harmony, peace, etc., governing everything in my experience. The realization of this truth will gradually begin to manifest as more harmony in every ordinary aspect of your life. Many are choosing to leave at this time, not consciously, knowing that they can be of better and higher service from the other side, so do not be overly sad or concerned when a loved one chooses to leave. Remember, there is no such thing as death. How could an infinite God die? When a person chooses, yes, chooses, to go home, he is met with celebration. Friends, family, and guides are there to greet him, often saying, "Oh, are you back already?" Overly mourning a loved one by building shrines or constantly talking about them only serves to hold the loved one in earth energy and away from moving on in their own spiritual growth journey. A healthy period of mourning by those left behind is normal. We refer to situations where it is excessive. When death is understood as going home by the majority, it will no longer be feared and resisted, but will be seen as the personal choice of someone who knows their work is finished. Some serve and learn here, while others serve and learn from the other side. You are actually more real on the other side than on earth. All is one, all is perfect, and all is love, for there is nothing else. We are the Arcturian group.